To the cloud recording. Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome once again to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode 105. I am your host, Peter Nicolaitis, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter. It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It looks cozy where you are.
It is cozy where I am. So first off, apologies, listeners or viewers, if you're watching the video, but I am recording this straight off of my iPhone via our Zoom call, as we always do these days. And I know some of you, this offends your sensibilities, and we're not taking the time to produce awesome quality audio. I do apologize.
We don't respect the studio or the podcast and keep it pure.
Apparently not. And but we own it. We admit it. We own it. I hope it's good enough for us. Now, listeners, given what you're paying for the podcast.
Given what we're paid for the podcast.
Given what we are paid for the podcast, exactly. I think you'll forgive us this trespass. So, I'm in a nice, cozy, like a little ski lodge up in northern New Hampshire. And, here with the lady for
Snow.
You know what, though? We actually have more snow both at my parents' house in Vermont and at my place down in Boston than we do up here in the ski area, capital of New Hampshire. So, kind of odd. Not what I was expecting.
So you should watch Holiday Inn, maybe. It'll happen.
Yes. Perfect. So how you been, man? It's been a few weeks. We've been kind of busy. We had Thanksgiving, and I had work stuff, and you had work stuff.
Yeah. So I've gotten a little bit of travel in. Well, and we had a lot of personal travel. With of course, with Thanksgiving, and then we had my youngest daughter is a cheerleader in the high school football, so we won the state championship yesterday, the AA regional. Yeah, so 2 years in a row. So that's pretty impressive.
All right, I'm impressed. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play or anything, but yeah. I didn't play. Right. I didn't coach. I showed up and cheered a little bit.
You showed up.
I did my part.
Yeah, that's a start. Excuse me, that's a start.
Yeah, but that was fun.
Cool.
And then work's been, all over the place, but hey, that's the life we chose.
We did. And of course, I've gotten my own choices recently, and, work has been work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's way, the alternatives of living a different life. I wouldn't want to change it. Office space when he decides he wants to be a construction worker. I don't want to be a construction worker. Now, I don't want to work at Initech either, but
fair enough. Working outside, making bucks. I get that. I'm somewhere in between, it's not exactly the 9 to 5, but since I report directly to the CISO in my current role, and he's based in Melbourne, Australia. And half of my team is in London, England, and the other half is in Lexington, Mass. I work. It's not exactly 9 to 5, but work is often happening at 9 and 5, and 9 and 5.
And 5. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Both 9s, both 5s.
Both 9s by 5. Yes, exactly. We've got 9s and 5s. They're covered.
Yeah. So is he Australian?
He's actually South African by birth, but then emigrated to Australia, which is kind of funny too, is because my cousin married a woman who was born in South Africa and also moved to Australia. So it's interesting seeing some patterns.
I think I've mentioned it before, but I love the South African accent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting too when it's got an Australian flair to it too.
Yeah, because I was born in Ohio. I spent the first 13 years of my life was in Ohio.
I did not know that.
You probably didn't know that, but
no.
Clearly I've picked up the Southern dialect.
Oh, you absolutely have.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned this, though, because one of my teams, she's actually located in Australia also, but she has been on maternity leave. So haven't actually, she hasn't been an active participant on my team since I took over.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny is that she was born in Vermont. and then she ended up over in Australia. Now, what's really funny is like she's picked up the Australian accent. And I thought that was pretty funny. She's only been there like I think 5 years or something.
Oh wow.
So, but she's not the only one. Like I've known a couple of other folks. We had an exchange student in high school. She went over there for her senior year, and I remember she came back after 1 year, and she was like all in, like, "Hey, I haven't seen you. You've grown heaps." And I'm like, I'm looking at like,
where are my heaps?
My heaps. I was like, so it's kind of funny how how some of these things can rub off on people. So
well, and I find it. I guess I'm more influenced by the people around me and their language, because like when I'm in Mexico, I'll talk more like the Mexican people that are speaking English there. I'll somehow, I just end up doing it. And that because they're thinking in Spanish, but they're speaking in English sometimes, and I'll pick up some of their phrases. And then, because I figure, well, he speaks this way, he probably understands it when I speak back that way to it. I don't know. I don't.
That makes perfect sense.
Although one thing I've found, so I work with a guy out of Romania a lot, in Romania and Germany, and they always end their question with no. Peter, that sweatshirt's warm, no?
Sweatshirt's warm, no? Yep. I know people like that.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, do I say no or do I say yes? I always just say yes and give the whatever the rest of it.
It is.
It is.
Cool. Well, we got some stuff to talk about today, don't we?
We do. We've got a few things.
You want to kick us off, or
I did try to. Yeah. Well, yeah. I tried to con Tim Richter into getting on the show today, but he was out buying a car.
What's he getting?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
We'll have him on next time.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting anything cool like a Tesla or anything. I think he's going to get a mundane driving vehicle, something that will get him from A to B.
Lame.
He's an IT guy. He should have a computer on wheels.
A whole computer network. He should have a data center on wheels.
Yeah. So, well, since we mentioned Tesla, do you want to tell us about yours?
Oh, sure. Let's go there. So it was around a year ago when I had my my annual service done on my car.
Right.
And that was when the tech observed that there was this yellowing pattern around the edge of the 17-inch display on my Model S.
Yeah.
And now, apparently this is a fairly common occurrence. And the Tesla was like, they weren't able to find replacement parts for these screens for a long time.
Because didn't you have it on the schedule to be repaired at one point?
Yes.
Okay.
And they would get back to me as soon as the parts were installed. Not. They never got back to me. And I'm like, oh, thanks guys. That's awesome. So that never happened. And so that was kind of a bummer. But I had to recently set up another call for service for my car because it was having. And sorry, there's a little bit of background. I think the cruise, there's a troop movement is being orchestrated upstairs. The rest of the guests are heading out to a pub. I'm missing a pub, an Irish pub with and brewery to be podcasting with you here today. Just so you know.
I assume you're going to catch up.
Well, I have a call with my stockbroker after this too, so I don't know.
you may be looking for somebody to buy you drinks. I
may just have to text my girlfriend and just say, hey, could you bring me back something? So anyway,
sorry.
So about the Tesla. So I noticed a few weeks ago I was driving, and the button on the steering wheel to let me make a phone call wasn't working. So the way the Tesla steering wheels have, on the left side is audio controls, so volume and play, pause, next, previous, and on the right side is another dynamic. You've got a scroll wheel and then a button on the bottom and a button on the top. And the bottom one can be dynamic, so you can adjust it to scroll through your contacts or control the fan speed, just a lot of different things right there with your thumb. But mostly I use it just for making phone calls, and that stopped working. And it also meant that even if I accepted a phone call or I did the hey Siri, make a phone call thing, I couldn't end the thing without going into the 17-inch touchscreen display and opening the phone app and finding the way to hang up or dial there.
Yeah.
So that was a little annoying, but so is setting up an appointment for Tesla service these days. Because
there's a robot for that.
There is. There's an app for that. And that's the only way you can do it. So you have to do it from the Tesla app. So at first I said, well, I'll schedule this. And I looked. Now, the only days that they could do it with a mobile service at my home were Mondays. Now, Mondays I'm generally at the new office, so that's not good. The only days that they could actually do the service at the office were Fridays.
Fridays when you're not
the
there.
Day when I'm generally working from home. So I was like, thanks a lot. So
I'm going to leave it at work on the charging station. Y'all just fix it.
Pretty much. That was the plan. So anyway, so what I did though is I decided this next coming Friday, we're having our holiday party. So I was going to be there anyway. So I decided I would schedule the service for late in the day, Friday afternoon, and, just be in the office then. So, and then I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do the display issue at that point too. So I put in those two ticket items. And a day or so later, they texted me back and said, oh, we can't do that display change as part of the mobile repair. You need to bring it in. Great. So I set it up, and I did this past week and brought it in on Monday morning at 7:45 a.m. Now, of course, they didn't do the valet service. They used to do valet service. They would come and drop off a loaner and pick up my car. Well, they don't do that anymore because of demand. Thanks a lot. And so I had to drive it over there myself. Okay, fine. But clarity as to how long the repair is going to take. Is it going to be a couple hours and I can just wait for it? Or, do I get a loaner? Is that standard? Because there's no confirmation or anything like that. No way to ask people. They'll text you if they have questions, but they don't give you the opportunity to ask them questions. So anyway, they gave me the loaner, and then as it happens, we had kind of a blizzard the early part of this week in Boston. Schools were closed, work from home kind of thing.
Oh, that's awful. So, schools are closed up there.
It is, but you know what? They're getting kind of wimpy about this. They're it's not like when I was a kid when we were waiting and there's a foot of snow on the ground. Then they're like, maybe we'll close. Now it's might be snow tomorrow. We better close schools. So whatever. But anyway, I ended up taking the car in. They needed extra time. They finished it at like 4:30 on Monday afternoon and texted me. Now that's the auto text says you can pick up your car anytime from 9 to 5. The technician typed in though, you can, we're done and you can pick the car up tomorrow. And I was like, well, if you're open to 5, can I come now? And he said, actually, we're closing early today.
Thank you.
So the next day, the second storm came in, so I didn't even, bother going. And so I went back at the end of the day. Finally, the snow stopped at like 3:00 Tuesday afternoon, and I went and it was nice getting my own car back. They gave me a Model 60, same as mine, but an older version, but just not as fancy. And mine mine is pretty much the baseline model, but a lot has changed since then. So it was just nice getting my own car back, and so that was nice. So that but that was part of the Tesla stupidity.
Well, let me ask you a quick question about that. So
go ahead.
Pardon my ignorance, but is that monitor? I mean, it's just a monitor, right? It's just an LCD. Is it touchscreen?
Yeah, it is. It's a touchscreen.
It's a touchscreen LCD.
17-inch touchscreen. Yep.
They are rolling those things off the factory floor out of China constantly.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I would think that you could just get that. So anyway,
run down to Best Buy, buy a $500 laptop, rip the display out, slap it in my car.
Slap it in there, yeah. Okay, so.
But anyway, apparently their manufacturer was, they were without them for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, in classic Tesla customer service fashion, they didn't bother getting back to me when they did have them again.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
I can't text you. You don't text me.
Right. I can't even call you anymore. So, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
So in a recent software update, let me back up a little bit. So Tesla for a long time has had this feature called smart preconditioning.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to be like, well, I don't forget. Do you have a smart thermostat? Do you have a Nest or Ecobee? What do you have got?
I've got it's a Novio.
Okay, don't know that one.
Yeah, it's what Train uses.
Okay.
But yeah,
so
I have one.
So I have a Nest. I've had Nests for years now, and just like the Nests, they have these like AI powered machine learning, blah blah blah. We'll learn your schedule, so you don't even have to program me.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly the Tesla has had a similar thing called smart preconditioning for several years as well. And according to all accounts that I have found while trolling the internet forums, it has never worked for anybody. And like people who have regular 9-to-5 schedules, 5 days a week, every day, same schedule, the thing doesn't work. I read one guy's account saying he just happened to check on the app one night at like 1 a.m. and the heater was running and stuff, trying to warm it up. So I didn't even bother with that.
Right.
But I was curious though, because now that I'm pretty regularly driving to, because this new gig that I'm working, it's on site as opposed to the previous one with the hospital that I was doing most of the time was mostly remote.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a much more predictable schedule. So I figured I would try to use that. Now I'm not going to bother using that. But they recently, in the most recent software update, allowed you to set a scheduled departure time. And so what it does is it calculates how long it will take to reach full charge. So you can tell it not to start charging, or basically when you want it to finish charging.
Okay.
And there's also another option to have the cabin, climate control adjusted for your departure time too.
Oh, that actually does sound cool.
Except it doesn't do anything. Now, the scheduling charging part, the scheduled departure part, that has been working just fine. But not once have I gone into the car and found that it was actually warmed up or anything, or any evidence that the heater had actually been running to get the climate, acclimated. So, but the other thing that bothers me about this is the option. You have two options. Do you want it to do this every day of the week or every weekday? Well, what if I'm only generally doing this 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard to, put together like a customizable schedule?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, the engineers who are drawing these things up, I don't think that they have a very large focus group, when they're like, trying to get some feedback and stuff. It's kind of ridiculous.
I could see 7 check boxes in a GUI, all one line. It'd take 2 lines in a table. Description at the top, button at the bottom.
Why is that so hard? It really shouldn't be that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that's my Tesla service and my Tesla stupidity. And related to that, recently, I was having Nest stupidity.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know about you. Do you use iPhone? Do you use iOS location services much?
I do.
Okay. So Nest recently, it's a few months ago now, I believe, Google, who owns Nest, has announced that they're switching everybody over to Google accounts for Nest instead of Nest accounts.
Okay.
And the friendly folks at IFTTT, IFTTT, if this then that, announced that, hey, guess what? Nest is discontinuing support for IFT. Well, there was a backlash, and then Google said, okay, fine, we will let you keep your existing Nest accounts, but if you migrate over to a Google account, then it's not going to work anymore. You're out of luck.
Right.
So I double checked, and according to the instructions I was provided with, I was supposed to not do anything. And if I was to do specifically nothing, make no changes, don't disable any recipes, don't migrate to a Google account, IFT was supposed to continue to work with Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Care to guess what happened?
It broke.
It stopped working.
It stopped working.
It stopped working. So the only thing I had generally done was I would have it say, like, if I exited my geofence, crank the heat down or set status to away.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the Nest has that ability built in as well. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
I opened a support ticket with Nest. They chatted me through this whole bunch of different things, validate this, check this, download, reinstall the app, double check location services, et cetera, et cetera. I would still notice that I would be like, I'd wake up at my girlfriend's house the next morning, open up my Nest and see that the heat was fired up and running full blast at home. Open up a second support ticket with Nest. Oh yeah, we need to do this, need to do that, need to do the other, need to turn off location tracking, tell it not to use the thermometer itself because the thermometer has a motion sensor in it. Okay. So we're going to tell it not to use that, just use the phone. This will fix the problem. Great. 2 days later, I wake up from my girlfriend's house. Look, heat's running full blast at home. Getting a little irritated. Now, I thought this was likely related to iOS 13 because I know a lot of stuff seemed to break and there were a lot of app updates coming fast and furious, particularly around location services. But anyway, third time was a charm. This time I called Nest as opposed to doing it via chat. And this guy had me do things that I had not done on the other previous things. let me just take a quick look real quick just to verify. But before I jinx myself, I'm going to take a look. So again, I'm a couple hundred miles away right now. Okay. Well, this is a little disappointing because the temperature in my living room, even though it's set to eco temperatures right now, and it's set to target 50 degrees, the temperature in my living room is right now 66. And
maybe it's warm.
Look, the heat ran for 5 3/4 hours yesterday, and I was gone all day yesterday. So Nest is still stupid, which is awesome. This is great. So I'm paying to heat my house down there in a cold snap, even though I'm about 125 or 150 miles away from home.
Welcome to 1985.
It's great. It's great. So How about you? Now, you know, when Amazon announced the Echo Auto, we both bought one.
Yep.
Well,
you got on the early list.
I was on the early adopters list. That's right. I bought it, and this was like a year ago, more than a year ago. I requested it. It only showed up, I guess, a couple months ago or so. I didn't get around to actually installing it. It's in my car, but like, you know, it's in the trunk of my car. I haven't actually unboxed it and set it up. And the main reason is because like if I use it and I have it paired as my Bluetooth device, it means I can't use my phone, which means I can't use my phone to play my podcasts or music that I usually stream from it without like switching devices.
Well, you would think that.
Okay.
It doesn't quite do it that way because I've got my Bluetooth. I've got a 1997 Chevy truck. It does not have Bluetooth. So I've got an FM modulator, which is Bluetooth. And my phone communicates to my truck radio over the FM modulator Bluetooth. But Alexa can also run at the same time to me. So my communication to my car and Alexa happens at the same time. So it's not, because I thought the same thing after what you said. I was like, how is this possibly going to work? Because I don't have an aux in or anything like that. But it talks to both Bluetooth devices at once.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
okay, so maybe I should give it a top because I pretty much after figuring that out, after maybe wrongfully figuring that out, figure that this is going to be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually tried it on yours.
Yeah, I actually tried it.
So how's it working for you?
It's in my truck somewhere. It's not plugged up. Well, it became very frustrating because, and it may just be, it's so new, but I've had really good dictionary skills with it before, because I use Siri, I use a word, and, I enunciate so that the computer can understand me. And so we were testing it. Elizabeth and I were driving to the farm, and I said, let's test this thing some. And I said, I thought of something I knew it would find on Google. And I said, a word, find how to broil a steak. And she replied back, how to boil snake. Okay. I said, okay, so that's understandable. Stop. And I said it again, slowly and clearly. And apparently there was how to make some kind of snake drink. So, okay. So you don't understand well these other things that I want you to do. How about we play some music? And I have on my station in Amazon Audio pulled up Don Williams because I was listening to country. So I told her to play my Amazon music.
Sure.
Started playing Mexican dance pop. And so I pull up my phone and I'm like, where? Okay. I mean, not that I minded the music because I like Mexican music, but I was like, it's still showing Don Williams. It says playing Don Williams right now. So I close Don Williams.
Better.
I get rid of the Amazon video audio app. The Mexican pop is still coming through loud and clear.
That's hilarious.
So finally I had to unplug her to get the music to stop. I didn't dislike it. It just, I had no control over it.
Right.
And then the other thing was I couldn't use her to make phone calls, which is really important to me in the hands-free world. Because like if I want to make a phone call, I really want to be able to tell that wireless device to make the phone call.
Sure.
If I can't do that, then I have to put my headset on. I have to put my Bluetooth headset on, which then has to work with Siri. Now I'm flip-flopping between these two. I don't understand why she can't attach. I guess it's an Apple thing. She can't attach to the phones and actually make dials and things like that.
Right. I don't know. I've never I know like on the iPhone, if I try to make a call via Alexa, she's going to call via Alexa. She's not going to initiate a phone call.
Yeah.
So I could call you via the Alexa app.
Yeah, I can call you. You're the only person I know that has one. I can either call myself or I can call you.
I could call you, or I could by accident, maybe like at one point I almost accidentally called an ex-girlfriend, and then I had to go figure out how to edit my Alexa specific contacts to remove that from happening. Because the last thing I want to do is like say, call Adam Bell, have her listen and, mistake that for the only other option. And call that. Oh, geez. So
it is nice though, because you're my only contact in there. When I want to send you a message, if I'm near her, I can just say, send Peter a message, and it does work great.
It does. And, calling via the app actually works pretty well too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever used that, but as the app as a call client it's pretty handy. I mean, I don't know why you would want to use that, but I could see myself actually if my folks had the bandwidth to do it and they had like an Echo Show or Echo Spot or even just an Echo, I could just call them to that, and all they would have to do is like say yes to answer it or something like that. Because invariably, I first, when I call my dad, the first thing I'll do is try to FaceTime him, and then I'll try to call him on the cell phone, and then I call the home phone, and he'll it's like, oh yeah, well the phone it's I left it out in the car, or it's down the hall charging or something like that.
Yeah. The drop-in mode that they've added, that's pretty cool. So you can drop in on your own devices like an intercom.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's kind of, and you can also you can use it like an intercom to send a broadcast across the homes and stuff. That's kind of neat, Yeah. I go through phases though, every now and then I get the privacy, concern gets to me, but it hasn't been enough for me to get rid of her yet. I guess I really like to be able to turn the lights on and off.
Yeah, I know. It's so much more work to say to turn the lights off than it is to walk past it and flip it up, though.
Yeah, but like if I've forgotten the lights, and I'm here hundreds of miles away from home, it'd be nice to know that they're turning off and, not spending that, 25, 50 cents on electricity.
One thing that was funny though, when you told me you got yours, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks after the time you said you got your Echo Auto, and I was like, I think I want one. Let me see how long it will take me to get one. And I went to Amazon and I'm like, buy now. I was like, I guess they didn't give the preferred buyers that much preference.
Now, how much? What did yours cost you?
It was like $40 some.
I paid like 25.
Yeah.
So I think that was the
preference. Okay.
Yeah. So you got to pay like twice as much for something that you actually used a little bit, whereas I paid half as much and got zero use. So I think you're still ahead.
Yeah. I think I am going to try it again though, because it's like anything. I was thinking about it. Well, that's why I was thinking about it. I was like, I need to really try that again, because we have a human tendency that easy things that we know, we don't try the new things or don't adopt the new things because they're different. Like I changed payroll companies recently, and I was trying to figure out my this month December budget, and I was like, I can't find the stupid payroll. It used to be just like right there in QuickBooks, and now I gotta log into this web page and find out what it is. I'm like, get over it.
Get over it. Get over it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. All right. So that's our discussion about Alexa these days and Echo Auto. but not quite as stupid. But I've got more. It's been a stupid week or so, so I've got more stupidity. Amazon stupidity.
Okay.
Let me start with this. Let me back up just a little bit. So my parents have cats, and I shipped them. I figured my mom might enjoy a toy. So I got my mom, because you remember we've talked about my mom. She had a stroke, and but she still has the use of one hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured I would send her a laser pointer.
Okay.
So that she can torment the cats with it.
Yeah.
So I ordered it, and I got a note that it was shipped on 12/2.
Okay.
Right? Today, as we're recording this, it is 12/6. So it says, Amazon says to me, shipped 12/2. Amazon package with your interactive cat toy, blah, blah, blah. Great. 12/3, arriving today. Something else that I ordered on the same thing. Great. Delivered 12/3, that other thing. 12/4, so 2 days ago. Arriving today, your package with blah, 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 interactive cat toys. Yesterday, 12/5, arriving today, your Amazon package with blah, 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 interactive cat toys.
Yeah.
Today, arriving today, your Amazon package with blah, 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 interactive cat toys.
Are you holding your breath for today?
Finally, today, delivered your Amazon package with blah, 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 interactive cat toys. But I just thought it was kind of funny that 3 days in a row, arriving today. No, really, arriving today.
Yeah.
Kind of stupid, Amazon, which is funny though, because usually what happens is I get the notice saying, delivered your package, blah, blah, blah. And then like an hour later, arriving today, this package. I'm like, yeah. I know. It was arriving today, about an hour ago. So.
Well, and I don't understand. Sometimes it's so good. Like I'll get a delivery notice. I will get a picture of my package on my porch.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Thank you. That's great service.
Yeah.
And then you get that.
And then you get this, yes. Now, did you guys ever sign up? Do you have a Ring video doorbell or something else compatible so you can let the Amazon people just walk right in your front door and leave stuff there?
No, I mean I have a video camera, so I'm recording everything that happens there. But no, I don't have the let Amazon in my house. Man, they're listening to everything. I mean, they're recording everything I type. I'm not going to give them a key.
Why not? Man? They've got everything else. What's this one thing? Think of the convenience, right?
Yeah. Could you just drop this stuff off, and while you're at it, steal? Oh, I don't have anything worth stealing. And maybe that package that you delivered is the most valuable thing here.
You'd think, though, if they were going to steal it, that they wouldn't go through the effort to
deliver it.
Come into your home. So while we're talking about Amazon, as I think I've mentioned, back in July, I spun up my own VPN server, and it's just a little AWS instance. And I never really paid attention to the amount of bandwidth that AWS lets you pass through their systems before they start charging you.
Okay.
I don't even know right off the top of my head what the caps are. Mm-hmm. But I know I exceeded the free caps. Now, I did this first a couple months ago. You may remember at Paradigm, it's a Dropbox reseller, but the number of customers that they've been, Paradigm has been reselling Dropbox to has been dropping steadily like a stone. Because most people are just using the SharePoint and OneDrive that comes with Office 365.
Right.
So if you're already paying for Office and you get all this other stuff, and watch out, Slack, you might be next. Just saying. I haven't really used it. I used Teams for one tech support call and it was okay, but I hear it's getting pretty good. So anyway, so this is kind of more Peter stupidity. So a couple months ago, you may recall, or a month or so ago, I was trying to move all of my stuff, and we're talking like more than a terabyte of data out of Dropbox into OneDrive and SharePoint. And I was doing it from my own computer at home, you know, in the home office. And I thought to myself, this is taking forever. And this is before I'd upgraded the SSD on the thing. So I kept on running out of space. I'm downloading, you know, like hundreds of gigs of stuff from Dropbox and then having to turn around and upload it back into the cloud to OneDrive. And, you know, like at least once or twice a day, I get notices that my hard drive is filling up and it interrupts the process. So I had this bright idea. I just spun up a Windows server in AWS, install the Dropbox client and the OneDrive client, drag and drop, and I'll use Amazon's fat pipe to do this transfer. Brilliant,
Awesome.
right?
Brilliant.
What could go wrong? I didn't account for bandwidth caps. That's what could go wrong. And all of a sudden I had like a $70 bill from AWS, whereas $70 higher than normal.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, normally my AWS bill is pretty tiny, you know, like $30. So I'm like, what's going on? So I stopped doing that. But then, and I decided again I never had finished that process. So I did again last couple weeks ago, decided to resume the process on my home system this time. And I got my AWS bill, and this time it's $100 over normal. And I'm like, what is going on? I said, you know, it's weird because I looked at the last 2 days of the month, and the only thing I could think of that was, I was doing my Dropbox to OneDrive move again, but I wasn't using AWS for this. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Then yesterday,
that got to do with the price of eggs in China.
Exactly. And then I remembered, you know, I woke up yesterday morning and it was like, I'm sitting there lying in bed and then my eyes bolt open and I'm like, I had my VPN client connected. And my VPN, like half of the internet, is on AWS. So even though I wasn't directly thinking about using an EC2 instance, I was indeed routing all of my traffic for Dropbox and OneDrive through this VPN server that I have, which is, yes, an AWS instance. Brilliant. So before I could rack up another nickel of charges, of course, I shut down the VPN server and just and by that time, of course, the migration had completed.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So that was Peter's stupidity more than, you know, Amazon stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
But not to leave anyone out.
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead though if you want to interject a topic here. I can take some turn.
Sure. So I mentioned the NUC. Well, you know, a lot of the times I'm finding my own stupidity comes from my ignorance on the topic, and I have tried to do it more quickly than I should have without doing enough research, and that's usually what gets me. Lately, I'm trying to learn a lot of these new Azure and Nerdios sitting on top of that. Most of the time what I'm running into is I didn't know the prerequisite that I needed to actually make that work.
Yep.
And sometimes once you get past a point, there is no fixing it. You destroy it and you start over.
Start over again.
And had I done the research, I wouldn't have lost the time. But I've had that. So I have an Intel NUC. And I wanted, there's the i3 version, which is completely slim. I mean, it's as slim as a Mac Mini, and it has no moving parts whatsoever. But it also has no room for a traditional sized SSD drive. So it's only got size for the whatever the little chips are that look like RAM, the M323 or whatever they are. You know, these guys. But so I wanted a 256 gig OS drive in it, and I wanted a terabyte storage drive. You know, stuff that I can just dump, ISOs, things that I don't want to back up, but if they were lost, I wouldn't care, but I wanted a solid state. So I bought the i5 NUC where I had space for both the little M323 drive and a terabyte solid state drive.
Okay.
So I put it in there and I fire the thing up and I hear a hard drive spinning. What? How can there be like the hard drive light would take off in activity and I'd hear a hard drive. How is this possible? I put a solid state in there. Did you know that solid states make noise? The circuitry can make noise?
I don't think I've ever heard one, but
yeah.
Okay.
It was described to me as I went out and looked it up. I said, my solid state drive. I just did a Google search on my solid state drive is making noise. And it said it can emit an audible squeal when the system is idle or under light use. I'm like,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I've got this solid. The reason I bought the NUC is I wanted silent computing. I love my Mac Mini. It has a fan, but it still makes zero noise that I can detect.
Right.
And it's under the bottom of it. It disperses. But I've got this gaming computer that I built in 2008 when I was still playing World of Warcraft and things like that. And
I didn't know you played World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played World of Warcraft up until 2008 as well.
we were what server did you live on?
Feather Moon.
Okay. I was not on that one. I wasn't on that one. I was on a different one, but yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
Anyway. You were saying.
Yeah. So I've got this NUC now that makes hard drive noise, but it's a lot less noise than my great big fans I've got in there. So I think I'll still use it. Okay. Although I may end up like buying a terabyte, like one of those, the M323 or I hope I'm calling it the right drive. I can't remember what they're called. And just get one of those big drives so that I only have one hard drive in it. But it's still pretty slick. I would rather have a Mac Mini, but
those things are expensive.
Yeah, they've gone way up in price.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sitting here still using my my 6-year-old MacBook Air as my personal laptop. And, like today, for instance, when I was spinning up myself a new VPN server so that I could, do it under my personal AWS account as opposed to the Paradigm AWS account, so as to get around those bandwidth caps that I already hit the other one. I'm just operating out of a terminal pretty much, and it's great. But it's getting like slow enough that if I open a few tabs in Google Chrome, it's painfully slow. And I had the Spark email client installed. I was using that for a while. Oh, that thing's a pig. On this machine, it's super painful to use. So I really can't use this for much of anything anymore. So it's but I'm less than a month away from being able to buy myself a new laptop.
You're sticking to the plan.
You and listener, fan, and friend of the show, Scott Wilsey, are supposed to be holding me accountable and not letting me do that.
You almost pulled it off with an iPad, and
I sent it back. Technically, I did buy that little Surface that's like an iPad-sized Surface too, but I didn't even open that one. I decided not to. So, so I sort of went against my my vow there, but I did turn it back. So it was So
you had buyer's remorse. Well, I almost talked myself into buying I really want one. I've got a UTV. It's a Lin High UTV that a friend of mine, he bought. It didn't have enough power, so he was going to get rid of it, and he ended up giving it to me. Well, it's, free gifts are not always free, because I've spent a lot of time and money on fixing the thing. So I was like, I'm done. I'm going to buy a John Deere Gator or I'm just going to get a used one. Well, John Deere has a 0% APR for 6 years.
Whoa!
Or 5 years.
Still.
60 months, 5 years. and you can buy it, and it's the same as paying cash. So whatever you figure out the number to be plus sales tax, divide that by 60. That's your payment, which is pretty slick. And I was like, I'm in. I want a $19,000 UTV that will do everything I want. And I had myself convinced, and I was like, wake up, dude. You're not going to spend $19,000 on that. It's something you may drive a dozen times a year.
Especially when you could put that money towards the down payment on a Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. And I'm going to throw boulders at my windshield.
Smash!
Oh, man.
Dang it. Oh, Elon. So not to leave Apple out of these things, because we've talked about Amazon stupidity, we talked a little bit about Tesla stupidity, and so we went downtown for coffee this morning, and we're like 2 or 3 miles away from the lodge that we rented. So I decided I would walk back, because I really have not been getting a lot of exercise lately. So I figured
running?
I haven't had time.
Okay.
Number one, I haven't had time, and number two, it's gotten cold and yucky and snowy and stuff, so I have not been getting enough exercise. Anyway, so I said I'll walk. So we can post a picture, a snapshot that I took of my maps. But I wasn't looking at the phone when I was navigating, having it navigate my way home. It was just like every now and then it would just tell me, like, take a slight right on this road or do this and that. And I was using the watch to tell me where to go, but I wasn't looking at, the maps on the watch. I would just look down at the watch and it would say, turn right, turn left, go straight. So we can post this into the show notes, but you will see where there was approximately 1/10 of a mile straight shot where I was walking, but Apple not so helpfully told me to turn right, go for a 1/4 mile, and then detour back a 1/4 mile out. So it added a 1/2 mile to my walk.
That's
for
awesome.
No reason. Now it's like, maybe it wanted to make sure I got my step count. It knew that I hadn't been getting enough exercise. It's like, we'll just direct him a little bit further. He'll thank us later.
Maybe it was situationally aware and was taking you away from something bad.
There could have been a traffic jam there, but by the time when I was taking that detour and when I came back away from the detour, I looked and I saw no cars that entire time. So I don't think that was it.
Yeah, okay. Well, benefit of the doubt. So talking about running, do you know what an air runner is?
I can't say that I do.
Okay, so imagine a treadmill. I don't know why the tracks are like this, but the tracks are kind of like a tank tread, but rubber. I mean, it's smooth. I mean, that's the closest thing is like a track on a Caterpillar or some kind of thing, and it's rubber. And you've got handrails that run all the way up, and you've got, the counter up at the front of it where it counts how many steps you go. But you take your steps on it, and depending on where you step is how fast the thing goes. There's not a motor driving the wheel or the tread. You drive the tread with where you are positionally on the treadmill, on the air runner.
Okay. Now, so is this higher tech or is this old school?
I think it may be. I mean, this is high tech. I mean, we just got them at our gym at the CrossFit.
Okay, so
gym.
it's not just like a manual treadmill then?
It is more or less a play on a manual treadmill.
Okay.
But it's doing some of the more stuff, and so it's slightly angled up, and as you get further up at it, it goes faster, and you start. Yeah, and so you run, the further up you are, the faster you run, and you kind of lean into it, and it's interesting. A lot of the runners really like it.
Okay.
I'll run on it because it's there and it's part of the workout, but I'd rather run outside. But a lot of the runners really like it, and it's not bad on your knees and So yeah, it'd be worth checking out.
Okay, an air runner. I'll give that a shot. I mean, I kind of want to. That's something I haven't even had a chance to check it out. But at the new office, there is a gym. I hear it's not terribly fancy, but you know, I could use that. They do yoga once a week on site on Wednesdays, which I've done a couple of classes there, and that's been okay. 2 or 3 actually, I don't remember now. And then and of course, you know, I've got my dumbbells and my what Bowflex or whatever model, you know, adjustable weights and things at home, and I can put myself through a yoga workout anytime I want. And you know, I've got the 7-minute workout on my watch or on Alexa, so I've got no excuse other than I've just come back home some days and I'm just fried. Like I got nothing, and all I can do is just sit down, find a can or a bottle of some really nice beer, savor it, and then I'm asleep. And then the next morning it's 5:45. I'm up, I'm out the door, and back to work again. So.
Yeah. I'll start texting you again. Push-ups.
Yeah, I know. Even that, I've got daily, reminders that go off every hour during the workday, and even then, I'm just like, I can't right now. So
yeah. Well, and I've kind of backed off the push-ups, just because I didn't want to do any, you know, really long-term, over and over repetitious damage as far as like making myself in a certain way. But I still do it. I try to do it every other day. I do my push-ups every other day.
Okay.
Because I had some shoulder issues, and doing the push-ups actually helped my shoulders.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you do it right, it can be like physical therapy. If you do it wrong, it can be physical damage. I'm trying to, my reminder when it goes off is to do push-ups, squats, dips, and calf raises.
Okay.
And, you know, even if you just do like just 10, right? I can feel the difference if I just do that. But like, and it literally takes me like, what, 2 minutes? But somehow, you know, if I don't stay on top of it, I will let myself psych myself out and, you know, like, I don't have to, I'll make up some excuse, you know, I don't have time for that right now, or, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, I get the reminder on my phone. My Fitbit tells me, do your 250 steps. And I've got a staircase that's near my office, and it's 3 stories, and I go up and down the stairs until I, the only thing that's, so on the 2nd floor, there's a homeschooler classroom there. I always zip up and down, but I'm always like partially like, I hope they don't think I'm like peeking in on kids, you know, weird dude or something. Yeah. But
there's some weird dude who's just going up and down the stairs.
But I always turn on the light, go down, up till I'm done, and then come back up and turn the light off. So making it pretty clear I'm not creeping.
So, hey, I've got another call in about 20 minutes. Yep. And so I know you use a financial advisor and someone to help you do manage your stock portfolios and things, correct?
I do.
Okay. So I'm going to have a call with mine shortly to just see. Now, I've been racking up fees, you know, and again, I'm going to see now they make these promises about, you know, like tax loss harvesting and stuff, but I'm really leaning towards like, I want to know how much money have you saved me, and how much has it cost me, and how much was made versus if I had just bought a target date fund.
Right.
So I'm really curious. I was just wondering, have you had any kind of questions or discussions like this with your guys?
I have. And so they made regulation changes. I want to say it was like 18 months ago. And so the fees were always there. we just didn't know the fees were there with the advisor. And so they have made it now to where they're requiring the advisors to be apparent with the fees that they're charging. And so I don't know if maybe you didn't see them before because they were hidden in the fund, that you just didn't notice them, but now you do. So there's that. And then depending on how you want to do it, some of them will make money when you make money. That's their...
Right. Well, they're supposed to be charging me a percentage of my overall portfolio's worth. But they're buying and selling a bunch of funds and EFTs. And
so churn, how much is the churn costing you? Yes.
According to mint.com, it's been thousands of dollars this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if this is worth it. I really gotta,
So mine, once it's in the fund, like I don't pay what they do in the fund doesn't cost me money.
Right.
Whatever the funds manager is doing, so if
right.
I'm in,
but if I don't own a fund and they decide, you know what, I think you need to be in iShares such and such, and they go and buy $5,000 of that, there's a fee associated with it.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of these buying and selling of things going on.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I don't do individual stocks.
Right. Well, these aren't individual stocks. These are all funds and EFTs and stuff.
Well, he's not a very nice man.
Well, there you go. So, like I said, I'm going to have a chat with them in 19 minutes with my Ameritrade guys there, and we're going to see. Incidentally, I'm sure you noticed Ameritrade is getting bought by Schwab.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I honestly don't. I wouldn't have a problem with the churn if he's making me a lot of money. And when I say a lot of money, I mean 18, 19, 30% return. If he's making me 30% return and he's got a churn and he's making money, I don't have a problem with that. If I'm making 6% and he's making a whole lot of churn, he's no longer my dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I'm looking like the 1 year for the State Street, one of their target date funds, for instance, say, I don't know, 2045. Let's just pick that one. In 1 year, it hasn't really done a lot. It's gone from like around $12 a share to around $13 a share. But that's like, 9-ish% or so, well, yield to date, TTM expense ratio, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, anyway, I'm kind of curious. I gotta see, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not sure I'm going to be reusing this service coming forth. We'll see.
Well, if he doesn't tell you something you want to hear, I can send you the information of my guy, and he, I mean, he's done.
I mean, I think I'm leaning towards just throwing everything into a target date fund, like Vanguard, like VTI VX or something like that, and just let it go.
Yeah.
And, because at least I can see when I look at it, all I can tell is it's gone up. And there would not have been thousands of dollars of fees involved in this.
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole thing about, well, diversifying and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I don't know. Because the target date funds seem to do a pretty good job diversifying. So where's the benefit? I don't know.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, the benefit for me is I don't fool with it. I don't have to fool with it.
But but that's the beauty of a target date fund too, though. You don't have to fool with it. Just buy it. Go. Done. So anyway, on that note, I should get some of my paperwork ready and start preparing. So I guess we should let you take us out, shall we?
All right, I shall do so. So listener, we do want your feedback. if you'd like to discuss a particular topic of anything that we've covered or something that we haven't covered, we would like to maybe cover it. We might not want to cover any topic. But if you want to reach out to us, you can do so at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. There's a contact us form on there. And if you send us something, we will send something back one way or another.
Depends on what you send us.
Yeah. Maybe a spam notification, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
So with that, I think we can
hit the big red button.
So, all right. So I'm going to stop recording.